How's everybody doing today? Thank you for joining the TechCrunch Disrupt webinar for the hackathon. I'm Emma Camo. I'm the Senior Sponsorship Manager for Disrupt, and I also help the hackathon that we've got going on here. So with me here today is Richard from Devpost. Devpost is our hackathon platform that we use for the event, and it's extremely helpful. So Richard's going to help us go through some best practices and a little bit of how to use the platform and things like that if you're new to the hackathon. So Richard, you want to say hi?
Hi everyone. Yep, just like Emma said, Richard from Devpost here. We're always happy to have the Devpost platform used at TechCrunch's hackathons. And I'll go over the company a little bit, but for us, essentially, yeah, we're a platform for powering hackathons with a large community of software developers. So we experience a lot of these different events. So I love these webinars because it's a great opportunity to just kind of share what we're learning and what we're seeing to help everyone get the most out of it. Emma, do you want to go over the logistics stuff, and then maybe we'll do some of the best practices?
Fabulous, sounds good. So I'll start off by going over the schedule and the setup for the main event. So for the hackathon, sponsor load-in starts at 10 a.m. You actually, this is outlined in the sponsor guide that you probably got from Janelle, our ops manager. So if you ever are unsure about what's going on, check out the sponsor guide. It has the schedule and load-in information there. So 10 a.m. Sponsor load-in begins. At 12:30, the doors open to the hackers. So you really want to be ready to go a couple minutes before 12:30. The hackers line up outside and are ready to go right then. So I've even seen some sponsors walk the line and go start talking to people in line and get them excited about what they're working on. So that's pretty typical. So be ready to go between 12 and 12:30, because at 12:30, floodgates open, everybody comes in, and you get a lot of traffic right away. At 1:30, the hackathon begins officially. That's also when we do the lightning round. So the lightning round is a quick and dirty 30 seconds, soapbox style, what you're working on. Literally, I'm going to line everybody up. If you're a partner level sponsor, so that's an API workshop or a custom contest sponsor, we'll line you up alphabetically, hand you the mic. You have 30 seconds to talk about what you're doing, and then direct people to your booth. At 2 o'clock, we start doing the API workshops. So if you are an API workshop sponsor, you'll get your time slot. They run between 2 and 6 every half an hour. And then at 7 p.m., we'll serve dinner. And then at midnight, we'll have pizza and beer, which is something everybody looks forward to. And overnight through Sunday, we have breakfast at 7. At 9:30, everyone must have their projects submitted. And that's a pretty important deadline. If anybody missed the deadline, there's not a lot of wiggle room there to get any projects after the deadline at 9:30. And then from there, we have about half an hour to 45 minutes of editorial review, where all the projects will go over to the TechCrunch editorial team to do just a quick review to make sure there's no content that violates our anti-harassment policy. So make sure there's no projects that are inappropriate. And then during that time, it's actually a great idea to go and head into the session hall and snag some chairs. So around 9:30 or 10, go grab your seats. And by 11 o'clock, we start the presentations. So 11 o'clock, everybody gets on stage. The hackathon presenters will, they'll know their presentation order. They'll line up, they'll get up on stage and show their projects. And that usually runs for a few hours, typically between 2 and 2:30, depending on how many projects we get submitted. And then right at the end of those presentations, those sponsors that are custom contest sponsors need to be ready to come right backstage to present to their winner. So you should be deciding on a rolling basis who would be in the running for your contest, so that right at the end you can come backstage and get ready to present your prize to your winner. So that is a quick and dirty run through the schedule. If you have any questions on that, definitely you can email me, emma@techcrunch.com, and I can definitely help you out. So that said, back to Richard.
Awesome, that's great. And just a reminder for everyone, I'm going to enable the Q&A app on here as well. So if anyone's watching that has any questions for either Emma or I, then we can definitely take those questions here, just enter them, or of course let either of us know after the event. So one of the things we always like to do on this, and I think it's really fun and a good practice, is just to kind of review, like, how do you effectively sponsor a hackathon? And I think what I mean there is, like, how do you do this in a way that you add a lot of value to the event, but you also capture a lot of value from it, so that you kind of get the most experience you can possibly get kind of for your sponsorship spend? And we want you to have a great experience, both so you continue to sponsor the hackathon, but also so that you add a lot of value to the hackers that come and they have a great time interacting with you, your company, and your products. So that's what I'm going to take about 15 minutes to review with everyone. So let me share my screen here, and I'm going to share like 100 slides. I love that bit where all the screens fold in. So yeah, sponsoring hackathons, March 31st. This is what we're going to talk about. So little bit of background. So I'm Richard. I'm the head of in-person hackathons here at Devpost. We're the world's largest hackathon platform. We're really proud to say we supported thousands of in-person hackathons all around the world. And I get to go to a hackathon pretty much every weekend. It's amazing. I love working on hackathons because I don't think there's anything really else that puts you so much at, like, in this environment where there's just loads of people creating all kinds of amazing projects. And that's always an awesome experience to be part of. So the URL, we're going to be talking quite a lot about the Disrupt NY hackathon that's coming up. So just to make everyone aware, the URL for that event is disruptny2016.devpost.com. I want to make sure that you've got access to that. So here's some of the things that we're going to review today. We're going to talk about things you can do prior to the hackathon. That's stuff you can be doing right now, things you can do during the hackathon, and then things you can be doing past hackathon. So what that means is, kind of, when the hackathon's finished, what are the actions that you can take that will continue to make sure that you get lots of value from the event? And I'm also going to talk about things that concern the Devpost platform and things that are outside of there. Okay, maybe we'll start with a little bit of an overview of Devpost. If you're not familiar with us, welcome. We used to be called ChallengePost. We're a New York-based startup. We've been in business 5 years, and we're a platform for hackathons and hackers. So we help hackers find inspiration in terms of projects to build, companies to join, and we help hackathons organize their communication and tell the story of what happened at their event by showcasing the projects. We power both online and in-person hackathons. As I mentioned before, we've powered over 1,000, and we have hundreds of thousands of members of the Devpost community. So really proud to be able to work with TechCrunch and share this with you all. So let's move into some of the pre-event stuff. So the pre-event, one thing I wanted to do with you is actually review the Disrupt platform that we'll be using at the event. So some things to note here. Pre-event. 1 week before the hackathon starts, the custom prizes will be uploaded to the Devpost site. So you won't see them there now, but about 1 week before the hackathon, they'll be posted up. So if you've taken part in a custom prize, make sure you've got that information to Emma so that these details can be put up on the site properly. Once they go live, do check, make sure everything's right. Let us know if there's anything else on there. Another thing that I want you to take a look at before the hackathon starts is the discussion forums. And the discussion forums are a great place to do exactly what Tim has done here, which is try and start an AMA about your APIs and about your company. Or we're going to be driving all of the hackers that are taking part in this event to this site to check out things beforehand. So it's great to have some discussions there. Just start one off, invite people, share your documentation, and invite people to ask questions about it. It's just a really great way to get everyone kind of thinking about your company and thinking about what you're doing at the hackathon before everything kicks off. The second section I want you to take a look at is the Participants tab. And the Participants tab is the list of everyone who's going to this hackathon. Now, the great thing about the Participants tab is it also exposes what's happening on the Devpost community here. Looking at this tab, you can see the skills that people have. You can check out past projects that they've worked on. And also the hackers are going to be using this to find teammates. So definitely take some time, peruse the Participants tab. It's a great way to get a sense of who's coming to their kind of projects that people have worked on. Maybe they have tags listed on their profile that specifically, mirror the technologies that you're interested in, or maybe even your own APIs. In the run-up to the hackathon, we also publish an update. So updates are a feature on Devpost where we can post a message on the site that goes up onto the Devpost platform, but also gets emailed out to everyone who's taken part. So one of the things that we like to do is to make sure that we put out an update that lists all of the APIs and prizes for the hackathon. So what we'll do is, if you've started a discussion forum, we'll link to it in this, but make sure that you give TechCrunch all the details about your API in good time, and so that we can make sure we get you in this into this list so that you get that extra exposure before the event. Another feature that we have, and many people watching this who are experienced evangelists will likely be familiar with this, is Devpost provides a free analytics dashboard for the usage of your API. So what you can see on this one is you're able to see in a very data-driven manner who's hacking with your project, what are they building, and which events are they building. We provide this restricted access for free for any evangelists from the technology companies. If you would like to make sure we get this set up for your company, just email hackathons@devpost.com or let me know, and I'll make sure that you're set up. It's a great way to help you collect data to report out on the success of the hackathon for yourself. So let's just review some of these things again. So one of the first things is use the Participants tab to check out who's attending the hackathon. Great to see who's going to be there, what are their skills. I want you also to engage in discussions, answer questions on there, and kind of kickstart those AMAs in the discussion board. We'll drive traffic towards them. Just make sure you've got them posted up there. Ensure your prize and API details are submitted in time to TechCrunch so we're able to get them on the site. And then, of course, let me know, hackathons@devpost.com, if you'd like to be set up for the free metrics dashboard. So that's all the Devpost stuff that we need to do in advance of the event. But let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we could actually do in advance of the hackathon that are off Devpost. So this is always the chore that I feel never gets done well enough. So take this time right now to take a look at the developer docs that you have. Now, make sure that the new endpoints you've released they're properly documented. Make sure your exemplar usage is correct. So really take a chance to review these docs. The reason I say that is that even with a great physical presence at the event, developers who are using your API are going to be relying on the documentation to make great decisions and really implement it properly. So take this time to review them and fix them up. Now, this is probably the best piece of advice I can give you today, which is if you're doing a sponsor prize, really think a lot about what that best prize is. Now, one of the things that a friend of mine says is that there isn't a developer in the United States of America who wants an iPad who doesn't already have one. So when you're picking your prizes, try to think about prizes that validate the learning the developers have done and then give them opportunities to learn more. And to give you a really concrete example, I was part of a hackathon recently that was all about personal biometrics information. So we had a lot of people like implementing tracker information, etc., looking at watch data flows and other wearables. And the prize was a really advanced medical sensor kit that could be connected to an Arduino. So what I thought was really smart about this was it was kind of expensive enough that it wouldn't be the kind of thing that most hackers would just buy on a whim. But what was great about it was that it was pretty affordable for the company to provide this as a prize. And it really validated that developer's interest in this area and enabled them to go on and keep building more. So that's a really great thing to think about. Emma mentioned earlier that you're going to get a chance on stage to do a lightning pitch. And I really think that spending some time within your team thinking about the why of your hacker pitch is super important. Why should a developer choose your API over a competitor's? Why should they consider building around the issue areas that you care about? So really take some time to really think through what's in it for them and really get nice and clear about why someone should be interacting with you at the hackathon. Make sure everyone on your team that's going to be attending the hackathon is completely comfortable and familiar with this. And I think this will really pay dividends for you. Okay, so we've done lots of great setup for the hackathon. So now the hackathon's kicked off. So what we want to do is make sure that we're setting up nicely to have some great success during the event. So the first thing you need to do is during the hackathon, I want your attention off Devpost and really with the hackers themselves, but do keep an eye open for any posts on the discussion forums. It could be that people go on there to ask questions before they come to your booth. And so make sure you're keeping track of that so you're able to have a look. So also, as Sunday morning rolls around, once the moderation phase has been completed, we will unveil the submission gallery. The submission gallery is where you're going to be able to see all of the projects that have used your technology. So if you see here on the right-hand side, we have sponsor prizes for all of the different companies involved. If you select one of those sponsor prizes, it will filter down the projects to just those that used your technology. So make sure that you check out the submissions gallery on Devpost when it's launched Sunday morning. This will enable you to actually kind of keep a great track of everything that's going on there. So outside of Devpost, here are some thoughts about kind of what I would like you to do off Devpost during the hackathon. So the first thing to think about is your goal should always be to help the hackers. And what I mean there is not just help them with your own technology, but help them with as many different areas as you can. I recommend bringing as many technical staff as possible as part of your team. Hackers will always have different issues. Maybe some people have problems with environment setups, with kind of getting everything to pull together, even simple things like JavaScript questions. There are companies that do really, really well at hackathons, are companies that are willing to help hackers with any problem they have, not just with their own technologies. I think if you approach with that mindset, it's going to be a really, really great experience for the hackers. And by consequence of that, they're going to think that your company's awesome and they're going to have really, really good experience interacting with you. This is the number one thing that I think most sponsorship companies get wrong at hackathons, which is treating their booth as a place to hang out and be kind of a campsite for their team to like sit behind in comfy chairs and just relax. Don't do that. The booth is a place for hackers to come and find you to get answers to their questions and help with their issues. So make sure that you configure your booth in a way that it's a welcoming place where hackers can come and hang out with you and ask questions and get advice. So make sure that you don't kind of just stay all sat behind it. Make sure it's nice and welcoming, and also spend a lot of time outside the booth on the floor helping people and interacting with hackers. Definitely the most important thing you can get right. The last one is a little bit of a difficult problem. So when I mean hacker hours, what I want you to think about is people are coming here and they have just under 24 hours to try and build something to demo on stage in front of 100 of their peers. Now, when you think about any software development cycle, when do you think the biggest problems on that would come up? Well, let me give you a clue. It's probably not 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon when you've just got started. The biggest problems are most likely to occur at 3 a.m. Sunday morning when you're trying to get everything to come together and start working so that you can make sure you can get your project ready. So as much as possible, try and maintain 100% time coverage at the event and make sure you're available when the hackers need help. So definitely expect, even if you have to like work shifts between your team, it's a great idea to try and have overnight coverage, especially for those last few hours Sunday morning. That's when people are going to have problems. That's when potentially they're going to abandon using your technology if it doesn't work for you. So really make a great push to try and be there to help them during that time. So Let's assume everything goes well and we've got a great buzzing event. This was a really cool hackathon I was part of a while ago, and I think this photo to me really shows the energy of everyone working and building together. So the hackathon's gone great. You prepared really well. You fixed up your developer docs. You got awesome. Everyone reviewed their hacker pitch. You had some great interactions online. Then we had a great event. You spent loads of time helping hackers. What are the things that we can do post-event to ensure that we get the maximum out of this? First thing is share the projects. You'll notice that every project on Devpost then goes to its own individual page. So take those pages, share them on your company's blog, share them on Twitter. You know, anything you can do to drive like more likes and more comments for the hackers is great. Hackers love it when they see companies whose technologies they use kind of getting excited about the project and sharing them. Go back to your analytics dashboard that we talked about earlier. Make sure that you pull the data from there to get the project shared and to get all that information out. Then let's talk about a few things off Devpost. Obviously, as I mentioned, use your social platforms, make sure you're blogging and sharing the project. And here's a great tip for you. Get the prizes out quickly. Now, there is nothing worse when you win a prize at the hackathon than having to chase the company to get the prize to you. Try and gift the prize to the hackers on the Sunday at the hackathon. If that's not possible for some reason, make sure that this is top of your list of things that you do Monday morning in the office. Everyone's tired after the hackathon, but all of that great feeling that a hacker has about winning your prize will disappear really, really quickly if they feel frustrated and feel that they have to chase you to get the prize you gave them. So definitely put the focus on get those prizes out quickly. It's really one of the top things you should do post the event. So that's a quick overview from my side. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, I'm richard@devpost.com. You can find me on Twitter @forwardmedia, and I'll see you at the hackathon. Let's go back here. Cool, Emma, that was, I rocketed through that version.
No, that was awesome. That was a great overview. I think there's a lot of awesome points that you make. So sponsors, make sure you save this link because this video will be available fresher for anything. I just want to double down on a couple points that Richard made, just to really call them out. Your booth is not a campsite. I love that you say it that way, because it's totally true. You know, I've definitely chatted with some sponsors who were seeing signups for their APIs a little bit slow, and that's because they were standing behind their table and talking amongst themselves. So that is probably the worst thing that you can do at a hackathon. So get out in front of your table, go chat. We do get a lot of the sponsors hanging out by the line as people come, walk right in the door. That's, there's always a line of people waiting to get into the hackathon. So around noon, go outside and talk to people. You can hand out documentation and really get people excited about what you're working on. So standing behind your table and not engaging the audience is the worst thing that you can do at the hackathon. So don't do that. And the lightning round, just to reiterate there, it's really quick, 30 seconds, no AV, no props. You just stand up, you say, hey, I am, Mark from Twilio. Our contest is this, our API does this, my table's right there, come talk to me there. Great, it's a great way to just direct people. They know where you're sitting, they know what your prize is, and it's really quick, and very succinct. So it's a really cool opportunity to just announce what you're working on and get people excited. So that's, I think, all I have from my side. Again, if you guys ever have any questions, emma@techcrunch.com, and always happy to help.
Awesome. I'm not seeing any questions coming in from this side, so maybe what we'll do is wrap up now, post the video, and if people have any questions, we'll address them later on for them.
Love it. Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for the time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy hacking, and I'll see you at the hackathon.
Bye, all.